Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Talking Mons, our Digimon Ghost Game Recap podcast. My name is JD, and of course, joining me is Jeanette and Gary.
The one and only. Hi there. I'm sorry. You just sounded so into it, JD. I had to.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm stoked for this week's episode. If only I get to talk to you guys. But this week, we are going to be talking about episodes 35, Werewolf, and episode 36, Labyrinth of Grief. Yeah, some weird shit happens in these episodes, so strap yourselves in. All right, so we'll start with 35, Werewolf. You know what? I'm just gonna spoil the big thing for this episode. Angoramon finally evolves to his ultimate, and he's ugly as sin.
The cute bunny turned into a super gremlin.
He sure did.
It's a different animal entirely. It looks more like a bat now.
Sorry,
go
ahead.
It's more like a holler monkey, I want to say, or one of those like Temerian like monkeys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be a jackalope or anything else. It could just retain that bunny-esque aesthetic, but this just doesn't have that.
See, this is why I was excited for this week's episode, because I have known about Lamortmon for months, like because Bandai or whoever put out like, okay, this is what everyone's ultimate is going to be, and I wanted to see Lamortmon like animated, because like you can only get so much out of his profile image. I didn't like him then. I'm not a fan of him now, and no. I have been waiting 4 weeks for this episode to air so I could get your guys' reaction to it.
It made me cry.
Because he's just like...
He's so ugly.
Yeah.
I mean, the episode's great, but he's ugly. He's ugly as sin.
He sure is.
Judging from the other evolution, I was expecting him to be more humanoid.
Right? I don't know. It's very strange. I think he's even like a different shade of like cream yellow.
Yeah.
He's like gold now.
Design-wise, it breaks everything.
It does. Like, I mean, I feel like the only one this season that has like a consistent design is Jellymon. Like, I can see where Gamamon goes into like his 3 champions. I kind of draw the line at Kano Weissmon, but like, sure, at least he's like still a dragon.
Yeah, it's like dinosaur-esque.
Yeah, he's white, like Gamamon is, like white and red. So like, okay, he's white red dragon. So that's, I guess Gamamon, even though he looks like a Yu-Gi-Oh monster. But yeah, Lamortmon just kind of like looks nothing like like Angoramon and Simba Angoramon. Like you very clearly see that connection. Lamortmon just throws that all out the window.
Yeah, where's the green livery, like of the bunny logo on the ears?
Right? So yeah, I think we're all in agreement. Lamortmon, very strange choice.
Yeah, like I would be less disappointed if they turn him back into a more animalistic bunny, but this isn't a bunny.
No, it's weird. It's a weird beast, man. But anyway, to get to the actual episode, this episode, the gang heads up into the mountains to visit some of Ruli's relatives. Turns out this tiny town in the mountains has a werewolf problem, like you do. And it has been told by, I think she's some old lady that's somehow related to Ruli. I didn't really get their familial connection. But it is this family's duty every couple hundred years to sacrifice a maiden to the werewolf, so it stops like trying to murder people, because people are getting like fucking attacked by a supposed werewolf. Turns out it's a weird holy beast that got loose or some shit. I think the werewolf part of this episode title, I think more applies to Lamortmon, honestly, just because of how it's designed. But I think the whole like we're going back to like this specific town's mythology, and like how Ruli's family has like basically been in charge of like staving off the werewolf for years.
Yeah, she apparently her family every 100 years will sacrifice a daughter to this wolf.
Yeah.
And just so happened to be this year.
Yeah, well, I think it's because they hear about weird werewolf attacks up in the mountains, and Rule is like, "Oh, hey, I have family up there. Let's go visit them."
Yeah, and as soon as she gets there, like, yeah, thanks for visiting. Let's sacrifice you.
In fairness, her cousin isn't like super into it, and she keeps telling them to like stop talking about the werewolf.
Yeah, and it's really only that old lady who's insistent.
Well, and then they get to the point where the town starts yelling at the old lady that, like, hey, you need to do something about this. Isn't this kind of your job?
Yeah.
But yeah, what did you guys think about it?
Well, I mean, it's really of her to be bait for the werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
So she played along and get herself to a shrine along with a few people who deliver her.
Yeah. Some people, your friends, are off to watch you to die, but whatever.
But it's not exactly explained that, or maybe it has been explained that I wasn't really getting it. Where she was getting vision from like the past or something. Like, was that part of the Digimon's power set, or was that like an actual like vision from the past?
You got me, man.
I mean, it's a holy Digimon pet or something. It can do weird shit, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean it's like the dog of an angel, like Darkmon, who is like legit an angel person, comes back at the end of the episode like, oh hey, my dog got loose. Sorry about that. I'll take him. Make sure this doesn't happen again.
I actually like that ending. I don't know why, but it just it amused me greatly.
It's just like they show up out of nowhere, just like, oh hey, I'll take care of this. And I feel like we get a bunch of episodes like that where someone just pops up, say, hey, sorry about that. I'll take care of this. Don't worry about it. And then they just peace out.
Yeah, and usually it doesn't work for me, but this one, I guess because it was a holy Digimon who's like, yeah, I fucked up. And this Digimon has been absolutely terrorizing this town. I don't know. It just did something for me.
Yeah. Well, after Lamortmon arrived to the scene or evolved into the scene, he seems less intelligent than all the previous evolutions. He seems more like just as his look, more bestial, and it really had to order him to stop attacking.
Yeah, that bugged me a lot.
So I'm formulating a theory here. I don't know if it'll ever come true. I'm almost thinking Lamortmon is a Skull Greymon-esque evolution for Angoramon. Like, he has some kind of dark shit in his past, and like Lamortmon is that dark shit coming out, and that he's actually going to have like a split ultimate, like Metal Greymon and Skull Greymon, and like it's going to be more in line with like his design so far, and Lamortmon's just kind of like a rabid version.
Ooh, I like that.
I have no idea. They have not said anything or shown any kind of design off for that, but like, I don't know. Lamortmon just seems so, like you said, he seems very feral. He seems like less intelligent, and his design is so weirdly like off from his previous evolutions that like I can't help but think like Lamortmon's not permanent. I don't know.
See, I think that Toei is definitely out of touch enough that they would make that his evolution.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird that if this is gonna happen, because I feel like since Gamamon is the main character, if anything, it's his ultimate that's gonna have that multiple thing, not any other character, since he already have multiple champion form.
He has 4 champions. God.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the story around this episode is really good. I had a lot of fun with it, and I like how Ruli is like formulating this plot to like, okay, I'm gonna be bait for the werewolf, but I'm not gonna die doing this. We're just kind of trying to get it out, and so we can figure out if this is actually a Digimon or an actual werewolf. Either way, we're gonna kill it.
Yeah. Well, also, I just find it kind of funny that the reason why the Digimon went like werewolf and attacking people is that he ate the data about, like, he ate the story, literally. He ate the legend and then thought that, oh, I must be the werewolf.
Dude, that explanation was so fucking out of their ass. Like, they said he ate the data of the legend, and like, did he go to a website that was about the legend and he ate data off of that, which made him go crazy? Or, I don't know. It's weird. I did like that they gave some context to the werewolf legend at the very end.
Oh yeah, that's an interesting story. So
Yeah.
where the werewolf used to be a protector, but a maiden fell in love with the werewolf, and people didn't like that. And in the fight against the werewolf, they accidentally killed the maiden. So he comes back every year, angry about it.
Retribution, man.
Well, not every year. Sorry, every century.
Yeah, man. He's gotta avenge his woman.
I did notice one thing that it's very little, but I absolutely love it. Is that, do you guys remember back in that episode where everything was freezing with fighting against the snow pile? And we have Hiro and Kyo like bundled up inside Angoramon's fur?
Yes.
This episode basically confirmed that all of that roundness is fur, because towards the end, really just stuck her arm out from the back. It's just like giving him a hug. It's just like, it's literally just, he's a stick inside those fur.
Yeah, that was a great scene where she hugs him, and I really like the animation there.
I just imagine that if you were to shave Angoramon, he kind of like has the physique of like what his evolution is. Like he's this beanpole of a rabbit man. But yeah, like you guys say, he's a giant cotton ball you can just stick your hand through, basically. And I've never wanted to see a shaved Angoramon more than I do now.
See, I think it would have been funny if that had been his ultimate, just to shave Angoramon.
Yeah.
Jeremy Snow here, owner and editor-in-chief of The Geekly Grind. I'm interrupting your awesome, regularly scheduled programming to ensure that you know about our Geekly Grind podcast network, of which this show is a treasured member of. If you haven't had a chance to check out our site, you can do so at www.thegeeklygrind.com, and while you're there, check out the other members of our steadily growing podcast family, including the anime-centric Blake and Spencer Get Jumped, discovering new heroes and comic book keepers with Chris and Lance, exploring the vast universe of geekdom with Geeksploration, or of course appreciating animation's finer details with the Ink and Paint Club. Escape your weekly grind at The Geekly Grind.
All right, we'll go ahead and move into episode 36, Labyrinth of Grief. And hey, we're getting some Frontier representation finally.
Really? I didn't pick up on that because I know nothing about Frontier.
Well, I guess we kind of had, because Bokomon was around. He was a main character. But no, we get one of the hybrids this week. I think he's the Earth's. Yeah, he's the Earth. He's the beast spirit of Earth, Gigasmon. Which I was very surprised to see. I didn't think we'd see the hybrids, but like he's beastly, monstery enough that he doesn't look like he's a dude in armor, like a lot of them do. So that works. But yeah, this episode basically centers around hey, buildings are disappearing into the ground and then reappearing, and then everyone in the building is gone. People are basically being like drug underground by some mysterious force. So
and turned into stone.
Yeah, and they're
like, I love the very beginning part because it's set up for something that sound like it feels very creepy and scary.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so the gang have to like go investigate this cave to like they're basically saying like, the urban myth website I go onto say this is where all the shit from the buildings is ending up, in this cave.
Like some people managed to escape from this cave as well.
Right.
So that's how people got the idea that this cave is where shit is happening.
Right. And I thought it was interesting that we get like a different group of characters that go along this week, where they're like fans of like Ruli's paranormal Instagram, basically. And so they also want to go investigate this thing. So they like really suggest they just meet up and like go explore it together. And so you get, this weird group of characters where you get like this, just like a normal teenage girl who is like a fan of Ruli's. You get like this girl who has like a fucking pendulum, is like sussing out vibes the entire episode.
She's the crystal girl. All about this crystal healing thing.
Oh yeah. Then you got kind of like a neck beardy kind of dude. And then you get like a guy who actually knows cave diving that goes with them. So it's like they actually have a responsible person going with them.
I like highly dislike this premise of this gathering because it was Ruli's idea and it feels very irresponsible of her to do that because every time it's Digimon related, so there's going to be danger involved. So it's one thing if she mentioned it in a post and then people just decide to come and explore and she happens to be there on the same day, that's one thing. That I understand. But setting up this meetup to explore a possibly dangerous cave just feels very stupid. It's a stupid decision.
No, I'm totally with you. But yeah, it turns out that Gigasmon is dragging people through the earth down to this basically mausoleum that he's building. I liked his reasoning up until they gave an explanation for why he's doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really wasn't gelling with this episode, but it just fell apart there.
Yeah, that kind of fell apart for me earlier than that, before we found the tomb thing. Because the way that they got separated feels very anticlimactic, because it's a cave, it's echoey, and they're pretty close by. So when one of them is gone screaming, the other people didn't notice. And it feels like it would add to the tension when they try to go rush and help and then only to find nothing. The guy just disappeared. And it happens multiple times when they got separated. It's like, oh, hey, Ruli, wait. And then she didn't hear it, even though she was 2 steps ahead.
Mm-hmm. I kind of just chalked that up to Gigasmon changing the tunnels around. Because every time they would turn around, the way they came is now sealed off with a giant clay butthole.
Yeah. Well, if they show that happening right after they separate, I wouldn't care. But
yeah,
it's always after that they realize something is wrong. Then the cave gets sealed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so I don't know if I think I get the feeling that you guys aren't super jazzed on why Gigasmon is doing what he's doing.
Oh boy, we have to talk about it, don't we?
It's okay.
He watched Inconvenient Truth, basically.
No, it's
it's a trailer.
Is it Inconvenient Truth, or did he watch too much Day After Tomorrow?
That's what I'm thinking. It's he's like, I'm entombing all these people because humanity is doomed because you fucked up the environment and all that. It turns out he misinterpreted a trailer for a Michael Bay disaster film.
Or a documentary. It wasn't really too clear on that.
Yeah, it was just some kind of movie trailer about the dangers of global warming, and Gigasmon just took that as a sign that the world's ending.
And of course, Hiro fucking lied to him. He's like,
yeah. Hiro's like, no, we're not gonna kill ourselves off. We're making strides to not do that. And I'm like, oh,
Toei,
Hiro, what optimistic future do you live in?
Well, a future with hologram and 7G networking.
I guess so. Maybe we're on the verge of solving the climate crisis in the future. One can only hope.
Yeah, I feel like it would be kind of less ridiculous if they go all out with that explanation instead of these type of, because it's kind of hand wavy that the way that they deal with it. If it's more outrageous, say it's an alien invasion or some sort of weird, just weird premise movie that isn't realistic, air quote, then that could have easily been say, oh, it's fake, it's a story. Don't worry about it. Because that kind of happened before-ish, where Digimon misinterpreted real world happenings.
Mm-hmm.
But this time just feels like it's kind of too not ridiculously enough to be believable that Gigasmon would be oh no, humanity's dying and everything.
To me, it feel like they came up with the premise of Gigasmon entombing people, and then they're like, oh shit, we have to come up with a reason for this. He can't just be doing it to do it.
Yeah.
Jeanette, did you have any thoughts on this episode?
I mean, not that anything that I haven't already said. I just didn't really care for it. And Hiro, whatever helps you sleep better at night, just keep telling yourself that.
Right. I think I think the parts of this episode are good. Like when they finally confront Gigasmon in the mausoleum, and they're just getting the shit kicked out of them.
Oh yeah,
Like that fight is great. I love it. And he's like diving into walls and then shooting out, and they have to like figure out his pattern or like how he sees them because he's like reactive to like sound.
yeah.
So that like the fight scene is great.
Like
Just
imagine Toph from The Last Airbender, but she can swim through rocks.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's a good way of putting that. Yeah. So there's good stuff in here. Just on the whole, just kind of falls flat by the explanation and logic of it. If you think too hard about it. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
Nope. I'm looking forward to the next episode though.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you all for listening. We very much appreciate it. Let us know on our socials and in the comments below if you're watching this on YouTube what you thought about these episodes. If you are all equally as repulsed by Lamortmon as we are, let us know. We like to hear from everybody. But until next time, stay safe out there, and we'll see you later.
All right. Bye-bye.